Out of the set.
I'm Gunnar Galloway.
Michael Graybeck.
This is our presentation for the Superfoods project on lentils. I'll go ahead and get started. As with an introduction, what are lentils? They're an annual plant that are indigenous to North America, Western Asia, and other parts of the world. The edible part of the plant is actually the seed, which is a lens shape, and it's made up of macro and micronutrients and is a part of the legume family. They can be yellow, orange, red, green, brown, or black, depending on the composition of the seed coats and cotyledons, as well as the cultivar. Now, the ones I've seen at the grocery stores are mostly just a mixed bag of pretty much every color. There's really no specific. The color of the whole seeds may be red, yellow, or green, as it is mainly associated with the cotyledon color, while the color of the seed altogether may be tan, green, brown, black, or gray, as it is based on the seed coat.
There's many forms of research that have been done on lentils. They've mostly been to see their composition, also the health benefits that they also have as well. In this research article titled Lentils, a rich source of folates, it was done to find the folate content of the lentils, and a set of lentil cultivars were collected out of 2 counties in North Dakota, Ward and McLean. The seeds were ground up and placed in a buffer solution. The seeds were then treated with 3 different enzymes and placed in a boiling water bath before being cooled over ice. Once this was done, protease from I can't pronounce that. Streptococcus griseus was added and activated with a boiling water bath. Then conjugase from rat serum was added. The enzymes were then deactivated by placing the seeds in boiling water again. There was also this study showed that the genotypes alone were not statistically significant and determined the level of folate in a lentil. However, year and location, as well as year, location, and genotype combined, were both statistically significant in determining a lentil's folate concentration. The lowest of the folates tested was green in color and was found to still, when taken in a 100 gram increment, supply 54% of the RDA of folate. The greatest of these folates was found to supply up to 73% of the RDA.
All right, the second research that we found was an article called Antioxidant Activity and Phenolic Compositions of Lentil, the Extract and Extractions. It was conducted by Zhu and a few other authors in 2011, and the goal of that study was to concentrate the phenolic substances in the lentils by adsorption, desorption, and to fractionate substances using gel filtration, determine the antioxidant potential of lentil extracts and its fractions, and to characterize the phenolic compositions of the fractions by HPLC and HPLC-MS. Really the only thing I looked at on this one was mostly just the antioxidant potential of the lentils. I tried to understand what exactly was going on, and it was a little too complex for me. The objectives were to concentrate the phenolic substances in the crude lentils, as I said before, and to determine the antioxidant potential, which is the main thing that we looked at. 2 methods that were used for the fractionation of the phenol compounds were the adsorption desorption over a macroporous XAD7 resin and Cephadax LH20 chromatography. 4 grams of the CME was suspended in 20 milliliters of water by vortexing vigorously, and then it was centrifuged to get the insoluble part out, and then the supernatant was filtered to get a clear solution. The residue was suspended in water twice, and all the supernatantes were combined. The solution was poured into a column previously packed with microporous resin XAD7, and the absorbance of each fraction was determined at 280 and 360. I'm not sure what the name is, nano something. Using a multi-scan spectrum microplate reader. And each fraction was reacted with Folin-Chiocaltau reagent, and the absorbance of the obtained solution was determined at 765 nm, and the fractions were combined into 5 fractions. Now, the results of this one are the ones that I was most concerned with, which they found that of all legumes, they did have the highest antioxidant potential of any of the others. That's beans and peas and all that stuff. The results also suggested that the extract of the lentils is a promising source of antioxidant phenolics and may be used as a dietary supplement for health promotion.
Another research article that we looked at was lentil-based diets. attenuate hypertension and large artery remodeling in spontaneously hypertensive rats. This was done by Hansen as well as a couple other people as well. The study pretty much was centered on the examination of the effects that pulse-based diets had on hypertension, arterial stiffness, and vascular remodeling in spontaneously hypertensive rats, as they're the closest to human experimentation. What we found was that a 15-week-old male rat was obtained from the Charles River. The rats were housed individually under controlled laboratory conditions. The rats were fed the experimental diet for 4 weeks. Pulses were soaked overnight, except for the lentils, cooked and then freeze-dried. Freeze-dried pulses were ground. The cooked and freeze-dried pulse powder was added to the diets at 30%. SHR were assigned to one of the following 6 groups: control, bean, peas, lentil, chickpeas, mixed pulse, and mixed pulse. Normotensive WKY rats were fed the control diet. The results of the study found that the lentils did decrease the media lumen ratio and media width of the aorta. The lentils also decreased the total cholesterol, LDL cholesterol, and HDL cholesterol. The level in rats fed the pulse-based diets were found to be lower when compared with those of the WKY rats and SHR controls. While all pulses reduced circulating TC and LDL-C levels in the SHR, only lentils significantly reduced the rise in blood pressure and large artery remodeling in the SHR, but had no effect on the PWV. These results indicate that the effects of lentils on arterial remodeling and blood pressure in the SHR are independent of circulating LDL-C levels.
And the SHR and PWV and the WKY are the 3 different sections of rats that were used. Another research article we found was by Crone. The article was titled "High Selenium Lentil Diet Protects Against Arsenic-Induced Atherosclerosis in a Mouse Model." And the main goal was they were testing lentils that were high in selenium from the Canadian prairies as a therapeutic food to alter the outcome that they saw whenever there were mice that had atherosclerosis due to arsenic exposure. Now, the male mice that were exposed to a moderate level of arsenic in their drinking water, and then the control mice just got tap water and didn't have any arsenic in it, and they got one of the 3 diets, which is a selenium deficient, a selenium adequate, and a selenium high. And then they did the test for 13 weeks, and after the 13 weeks, there were lesions formations in the aortic arch, and sinuses were assessed in the population that had arsenic in their water. And intralesional cellular composition, serum lipid levels, and hepatic oxidative stress were assessed as well. The arsenic exacerbated plaque formation was in the arteries, and it was reduced in the sinus and completely abolished in the aortic arch of mice that were on the selenium fortified lentil diet. So the high selenium diet mice had reduced plaque formation in their arteries, even though they'd been exposed to the arsenic. Now, the ones that were on the diet that was deficient in selenium and these ones that were just adequate in selenium, both still had plaque formation in the arteries. So the evidence of this study was mainly to show that increased selenium in lentils, so certain types of lentils have more than others, and those that do are better at removing plaque formation in the arteries.
And then we also looked at another article, iron fortification of lentils to address iron deficiency. It was a colorimetric method was used to determine the appearance of the dye fortified with fortificants at different iron concentrations and under different storage conditions. Relative iron bioavailability was assessed using an in vitro cell culture bioassay. The results found from the study showed that total iron and citric acid concentrations differed significantly between cooked, unfortified, and fortified lentils, ranging from 68.0 7 to 238.5 and 7.2 to 8 milligrams. The relative iron bioavailability of cooked fortified lentils was increased by 32.2 to 36.6% compared to unfortified cooked lentils. The results showed pretty much that the fortification of lentil dal is effective and can prove a significant, that has many health benefits to people who may have iron deficiencies.
All right, another one of our studies I found was by a doctor, a set of doctors actually at the St. Michael's Hospital in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. The main guy on it was Dr. Russell DeSouza, and they combined all the clinical trials available, so it was a review and a meta-analysis over lentils and then the other pulse foods. The results of the review showed that eating around 3/4 cup of lentils a day led to an average weight loss of about 0.34 kilograms, or about 3/4 of a pound, although no timetable was listed for the weight loss. The same review also found that when incorporated into the diet consistently, lentils and other pulses can help to give a sense of fullness while being low calorie, and can also help to lower bad cholesterol.
Obviously, there's a lot of benefits to lentils, including lower cholesterol. They're also a good source of antioxidants. They can lower blood pressure in those with hypertension. They can also help with arterial remodeling. They also can help those who are at risk of anemia by delivering the high amounts of iron they contain, especially when they're cooked. And they also are good for weight loss by stimulating the feeling of fullness with a low calorie count.
And also seen by the study in the rats, they may also help to aid in the removal of plaques in the arteries. As far as who benefits from the consumption of lentils, pretty much you can put it together from the studies that those trying to lose weight or keep weight off, they're actually really good for that, because if I'm correct, 1 cup has about 250 calories, but you're pretty much full as soon as you eat them. So it keeps you from, it's something that you can use as a meal replacement kind of thing. So it'll help you lose weight because you're intaking less calories, and also keep the weight off because you're not intaking more. As you said earlier, the increased iron in them really helps anemic individuals, and they can help to lower your high blood pressure, so those with hypertension. People who may be at risk for future heart disease and atherosclerosis could benefit, as well as pregnant women, because the increased folate in it and folic acid is needed in the development of the fetus. And those who have high cholesterol, as mentioned earlier, they have shown to lower total cholesterol, which is the LDL and the HDL both. So pretty much anyone is able to benefit from lentils. There's really not any negative effects of consuming them in moderation, only positive.
There's a couple precautions though when consuming lentils to look at. There's a problem that happens when you consume too many. They're at risk for gallstones. There's also flatulence. You can develop increased risk of developing kidney disease, and a possibility for increased cholesterol.
And hyperkalemia, which is alkalinity of the body. Contraindications, as far as we can tell, there weren't really any specific population of people that couldn't consume lentils. Just as long as they're consumed in moderation, they seem to have positive effects. When they get over moderation, there are a few negative effects, as we just listed. But there really isn't anything that says that nobody can consume them. Obviously, I wouldn't feed them to my newborn child or anything like that. But as far as children and teenagers, adults, elderly people, it seems to me that pretty much everybody can consume them and can get some sort of health benefit out of it if they do so in the correct way.
Available forms. Lentils are pretty much available at a lot of different grocery stores. They're pretty common. They come in one form. They're usually packaged and priced by their weight. They usually are ready to eat form when they're pre-cooked. They're a lot less common than the raw form most people see.
As far as the ease of access goes, along with the last slide, after we did visit a few grocery stores, it's apparent that lentils are very easy to obtain because they were literally at every grocery store we went to. That's the Kroger's and the Schnucks and everything. There's no age limit on it. It's not like alcohol and cigarettes and stuff. So you can send kids in and buy lentils, and therefore anyone and everyone that's functional enough to walk inside a grocery store and pay for them is able to purchase them. So as far as easy access goes, they are very, very easily accessed.
benefits for physically active. Lentils provide many benefits for those who are inactive and those who are and those of high-risk population. They include the increased accessibility of complex carbohydrates or glycogen, which is pretty important before a workout. They also help delay fatigue by giving you more fuel and preventing your blood sugar from dropping. They also help by replenishing your muscle glycogen when consumed after a workout, which is pretty big.
As far as incorporation in diet, they can be incorporated in a variety of ways. We've got 2 recipes here. The first one is for tacos that involve cauliflower. We just kind of gave it to give an idea of what you could do with lentils, but the video that we've made is just showing how to cook them and get them ready for soups and whatnot. So here's your diet for the cauliflower tacos, and then here is the ingredients for the recipe we did, and then here is just the main thing. I'm going to go through it here in this video.
Alright, so today I'm going to show you how to make lentils, how to prepare them to put in soups and salads and things of that nature. I went ahead and started a pot here on the stove. It's 2 cups of water is what you start with. I went ahead and put it on, that way it would be boiling by the time I got everything else prepared. As far as things you need about a 1 cup measured cup. As long as it's got the 1 cup mark on it, you can have a 2 or more. A strainer and a saucepan, which I have here, and obviously some lentils. The kind I bought were just very kind. They were the yellow, brown, tan, green, etc. They're kind of a mixed bag. They were already shelled, they're ready to go. So we'll go ahead and get started. Like I said, I got my 2 cups of water here, and I got a measuring cup right here. Inside of it, you can see the lentils. You can't really tell the color, but they're like I said, multicolored. The first thing you want to do is take your strainer. You want to go ahead and dump those into the strainer, and you want to kind of shake them around a little bit and get a lot of the loose debris and stuff and what's left of the shells you want to get out. So kind of shake those around a little bit, and then once you're not really hearing much else fall out of the strainer, you want to go ahead and add some water. Kind of give them a little bit of a rinse off. That way, if there's anything on them, it kind of pushes it off. Then once you do that, you want to continue to shake them around a little bit. Kind of get them loosened up, and get a lot of the debris out of there. Make sure it's all out before we start cooking, because we do not want shells or anything like that in our lentils. Now, our water is heating up. It's just about to a boil. Now, as soon as the water gets to a boil, we will add the lentils. It says that it's alright for it to be at a rolling boil whenever you add them, but as soon as you put them in, you need to turn it down to where they pretty much just simmer with just a few bubbles. That way, they're not really pushing them all over the place. They can sit there and they can cook, and it's not too hot. So we'll go ahead and, yeah, it's boiling now. We'll take the lid off, and we'll go ahead and add these into the pot. And as soon as you add them initially, you want to go ahead and stir them just to be sure that they don't stick to the bottom of the pot. And then, like I said, once you add them, you want to turn it down from high to medium. That's what I found to be the best. Kind of give them a small simmer. And then you just let them sit there in the pot. You do not want to put the lid on. You want to keep the lid off. So they're uncovered, and you want to cook them for 20 to 30 minutes, just depending on their kind of texture. You'll know when they're getting close to being done because they get soft and they're actually chewy versus the hard when you start. So like I said, 20-30 minutes, and you want to keep an eye on them and add water as it's necessary. You want the water level to be above them. If it's below them, you need to add water. It'll start sticking to the pan and it'll start burning. So keep an eye. As long as the water level is above, you're good. If it gets below, add water. Cook them for 20-30 minutes. And also you can add any spices you want to add. It suggests garlic and onions and pepper. But you're not supposed to add salt until afterwards, because it actually makes them tough, and then they're harder to chew, and so on. So everything can be added while you're cooking except for the salt, which I went ahead and prepared some in advance. That way I didn't have to wait 30 minutes for this video. Here's some finished product. They're a lot softer, and they're actually chewy. They kind of almost have the texture of a pea. They kind of look like a pea. which is because they're lagoon. But then you just take your salt and you just sprinkle it on there, and you just mix that in, and they're actually, the salt gives them pretty good flavor, so you're good to go.
The fun fact we found was that lentils were actually found completely intact by archaeologists in some of the pharaohs' tombs dating back to ancient Egypt. There is our references. We will also send a copy of the PowerPoint, and our apologies for going about 4.5 minutes over the time limit. There's a lot of information. Thank you.